Hi guys, this is the new locally assembled Porsche Cayenne. Now Porsche Malaysia just introduced this just last month and we're getting to drive it today. So in this video, I want to take you for a walk around, take the car for a drive, tell you what's great, what's not so great. But for starters, the new Porsche Cayenne has been updated visually. So if you can probably tell that there's some visual updates, especially around the front. But the real updates are centered around the inside. But before we get inside, let's just go for a quick walk around on the outside, show you what's new, what's great, what's not so great, and then jump inside, take it for a drive, and then tell you how much it costs and whether it's worth the money and what else you should be considering. Let's go. Now for starters, the front bumper has obviously been redesigned. But the biggest update is here, the lights. These are the LED matrix headlights. These are quite advanced, these headlights. They take into consideration the speed of the car, the location of the car, and then using GPS information, of course, and then use that information to decide the illumination levels that they should be at. So this is great so that you never run out of light. But not only that, it doesn't glare oncoming drivers. The other thing is the bonnet has been slightly raised. Now this accentuates the size and the width of the car. So these are the updates around the front. And then the side here, now this is what you're looking at over here is basically the base model. The base model comes with these 20-inch wheels. Check out the profile of these tires. Now these are 55 profile tires. So what this means is that there's a lot of rubber between the road and the rim. So this gives you a comfortable ride. But not only that, you also get an option for 21-inch wheels, which will set you back 45,000 ringgit. But if bigger is better for you, then you'll be happy to know that there's also 22-inch wheels that will set you back at nearly 50,000 ringgit. 49,000 ringgit to be exact. Those are really nice rims. But one of the key differentiation between this generation Porsche Cayenne and the previous generation Porsche Cayenne are the suspension. Now, the twin chambers in the suspension gives you a more comfortable ride as well as a sportier ride depending on the mode that you're in. Now, from the side, well, not much updates. It still looks like a typical Cayenne. Now at the back though, it's completely different. Now, how can you tell the new from the old? Well, for starters, the new Cayenne has the word Porsche just embossed like over here. You can touch it. The previous generation one was hidden behind a plastic cover of sorts that was part of the LED light strip that has come to define Porsches, whether it's a 911, the Cayenne, or even the Taycan. So all of them have this LED light strip. Now the previous generation one, this Porsche wordings was inside the Porsche, the plastic casing. This you can actually touch and feel. Since we're here, of course, a motorized boot, a motorized tailgate, a very large boot. You also get an easy access system. You can, at the touch of a button, you can actually drop the height of the car. So this makes it easier to chuck stuff in and such. Once you're done, you can either go back and start it by itself, or you can press this button and raise it back up again. That's it. But since we are back here, I would just like to point out something that I'm not really a big fan of. And that's just this big plastic panel, this raw plastic panel over here that is part of the rear diffuser. I think that should be gloss black. That would look better. Right now, for a car that costs 600,000, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Let's go inside. First order of business, start it up, turn on the aircon. Now, the start button is now on my right. The seat goes up to greet the steering wheel comes down to greet me. So this is nothing new, but what is new is this huge 12.6-inch digital meter panel in front here. Now, In typical Porsche fashion, you still have the RPM dial located in the center. That is all Porsches have that. On the right is information such as oil temperature, engine temperature, the date and such. But of course, if I turn this, I can change to whatever information that I want. If you are into track days, you'll be happy to know that it has a lap timer as well. Not sure who tracks their Cayenne, but hey, just in case you want to, you can. There's a 12.3-inch screen over here as well, with basically gives you access to all of the car's controls, entertainment as well. Talking about entertainment, it also comes with a Bose sound system, the new Porsche Cayenne, locally assembled Porsche Cayenne. The other thing that you might have missed is the absence of a gear knob. The gear knob is now here. So this toggle switch over here now doubles up as the gear knob. To go into P, you press this. Now D, I just push this down. It's now in D. Reverse is up. Okay, and if I want to go to N, now this is reverse. Now P, I just press this in. And so this has basically cleared up some space for storage. So I can keep things like my phone, anything else that I might want to keep there. So this is basically a digital screen over here that gives me information, lets me control the air conditioning and such. And the air conditioning vents have also been updated and they look really cool. And the one thing that I like about the new locally assembled Cayenne, I never drove the previous generation Cayenne, locally assembled Cayenne, but it does not feel like it has been locally assembled at all. Now, the thing about car makers is, especially car makers like BMW or Mercedes, when they locally assemble their product, unfortunately, the quality does not trickle down to the locally assembled ones. I was absolutely disappointed with the quality of the Mercedes-Benz EQS 500, the locally assembled one, the one that is made in Pekan, was, yeah, no nice things to say about it. But you can watch my video about the EQS 500 somewhere on the screen or in the captions box below. So anyway, in here, quality is really nice. You still get this grab handles over here. This has been in place since the first generation Cayenne. This is basically for people to hold on to and scream their lungs out when you're absolutely gunning for it. The other thing is you get this nice aluminium garnishing over here. It's nice. It's a nice place to be in. It feels expensive. Even though there's a lot of black stuff going on, you know, it's just dark and such. But once you start touching it, feeling it, it feels nice. And I think Mercedes and BMW can learn a lot from the locally assembled process of Porsche. If you're the type that likes to be driven in, you'll be happy to know that the back seats are spacious. Not only that, comfortable. But not only that, you have your own, where is it? You can adjust your seat, get more comfortable and such from the back here. Now, you don't really get a Porsche Cayenne to be driven in. These cars are meant to be driven. Porsches are meant to be driven. They're proper driver's machines. But hey, the Cayenne is also meant to be a family car, a good one at that. Spacious boot, spacious second row seats, and then you get your own air conditioning dials, you get your USB ports, you get more storage space here. And the interesting thing is, if you're going to buy a Cayenne and you got about an additional 14,000 ringgit to spend, 13,500 ringgit to be specific, you can specify the Porsche Tech Equipment option. This will give you two 10.1-inch screens or something like that. That will give you access to things like Netflix or YouTube or anything of that sort to keep your family entertained while you're doing the driving, while the car is entertaining you. So I think in that sense, it's very, it's a car that has it all. And check this out. This in a locally assembled Cayenne. The Mercedes EQS doesn't have this. That's really cool. Now let's go take it for a drive. But before we take it for a drive, let's check out the engine. So before we take it for a drive, let's just explore the engine just a little bit. So this is basically the same 3-litre V6 turbocharged engine that was powering the previous generation model as well, but now it has been enhanced. It produces 13 PS more and 15 Newton meters of torque more for a total output of 353 PS, which is roughly 350 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100, 5.7 seconds. Top speed, just 2 kilometers under 250 kilometers per hour at 248 kilometers per hour. So in terms of performance, wow. And it transfers power to the wheels via an 8-speed gearbox. So it's still the same old engine, but more powerful now. Now, let's go take it for a drive. Before we jump inside, I want to just show you this. I think this is the first locally assembled car of any model to have soft closed doors. So, you know, sometimes it's so annoying, right? You close the door and then it just doesn't latch. Now the soft closed doors, nothing new. It's been around since the 80s, or was it the 70s? 80s, I think. If I'm not mistaken, the Mercedes S-Class was the first car to have this. But it's just really cool to think that a locally assembled Cayenne has this. I suspect it's the first locally assembled car to have the soft closed doors. Let's just do this again. Very nice. Now let's go take it for a drive. The success factor for any locally assembled model is of course sales, how well it sells. But as far as the buyer is concerned, the success of a locally assembled model is the perception of quality. How close can the quality of a locally assembled model get to the imported model? For example, the locally assembled Cayenne, how close can it get in terms of build quality and such to the imported ones, to the ones that are made in Germany? Case in hand, I think Mercedes-Benz and BMW are both guilty of this in terms of, you know, shady build quality that is quite a bit further than the ones that their imported siblings. The locally assembled models are not as well put together as the imported ones. But as far as the Cayenne is concerned, I think Porsche has nailed it, because this is a very nice car, and I think they have absolutely nailed the locally assembled program, because it feels like one of those Porsches that have actually been built in Germany. And that is testament to how successful the program has been. Because if you're going to talk about sales, then Porsche has nailed it again, because the Cayenne, the locally assembled model, the CKD model, the sales for that is off the charts, guys. In fact, it has taken Porsche by surprise as well. How do I know that? Well, a little somebody that works at Porsche told me lah. Somebody. Anyway, on uneven roads, on highways and everything, there's nothing that buzzes, nothing that rattles, nothing that feels like it has not been screwed together properly. And wow, I mean, you can start knocking around, you know, and nothing feels hollow. I hate stuff that feels hollow, that stuff that does not feel very expensive, because these cars are not cheap, guys. Anything above 300,000 ringgit needs to feel well put together. It doesn't matter whether it's an A class or a C class or a 3 series or anything of that sort. It needs to feel expensive. You don't always get that, unfortunately. But at 600,000, 599,999 to be exact, at 600,000, I think this Cayenne is an absolute bargain. Well, let's consider the competition for a while. I think the competition hasn't been doing all that great of a job anyway. The GLE, well, besides being in need of an update at 500 over 1000, I think about 513 now. At that price, I think the GLE needs an update. It doesn't feel that great. And even though it's nice and spacious, I think in terms of brand perception, you might as well just spend that 80 odd thousand ringgit and get a Porsche. BMW is going crazy over its electrification program. I wish that they would stop, forcing us to buy plug-in hybrids, electric cars and such, because the X5 is a nice car, no doubt about it. I wish it was only available or another option would have been an internal combustion variant as opposed to only a plug-in hybrid. So, as an option, of course. So, in that sense, I think the Cayenne is the better buy. Of course, BMW and Mercedes are not exactly putting up that great of a fight, but as a car by itself, I think the Cayenne is a brilliant value for money proposition. I think Porsche has absolutely nailed it. There are two things that I wish would have been better right after I pay the toll. There are two things that I wish that would have been better. I do wish that Porsche would have included a sport exhaust system, because if I put it into sport right now, I put it into sport plus, this is when the car is at its most extreme, at its most Porsche. If I put my foot down, listen. It's fast. It's very fast. But it's not intoxicating. There's nothing that is actually making me want to just engage in this moment. I mean, it's handling beautifully. The suspension is at its stiffest. You can see me being thrown around a bit. But in terms of oral pleasure, there's no sound in here. It's just too quiet. Porsche, come on. Right? So, now putting it back into normal. The other thing that I wish that the Cayenne had was the passenger screen. Now, if you're hearing this frog croaking, that's the lane departure warning. My pet frog is not in here. So anyway, when Porsche first introduced the new updated facelifted Cayenne earlier this year, one of the key takeaways from that was the fully digitalized interior. And part of that included a screen for the front passenger. Now, because of the local assemble program, Porsche has omitted that. I'm guessing because of cost. But that would have been cool. That would have given it a Mercedes hyper screen sort of ambience in here. Maybe in the future, it would have, for updated models, we might get that. But for now, yeah, there's none of that. You don't get a screen for the passenger, which is a bit of a pity, I think. Anyway, besides that, as I said earlier, you can spec the screens for the passengers, which was the back passengers, which will set you back another 13,500, and then another 50,000 ringgit for the 22-inch wheels. So you can expect to pay somewhat closer to 670,000 ringgit for a really nice Cayenne. But now, as a base model, it's really fun as well. It's amazing, especially in that Sport Plus mode. Let's do that again. Put down, just a half a second of delay there. And I'm already at some very illegal speeds. Nice. 350 horsepower, 500 Newton meters of torque, 248 kilometers per hour top speed. I'm close to that. And I'm just feeling so planted. The car feels planted. There's an obstacle, you just drop anchor and the car responds immediately. This is what makes a proper SUV. 1, space for your family. 2, performance for when you're driving it alone. 3, technology everywhere. And 4, a brand associated with winning. And that's what you get in a 600,000 locally assembled Cayenne, which just means that this is a really good deal. Forget the rest. If you're looking for a SUV and you're willing to pay about 500,000 ish, then save up the money. Don't look at anything else. Get the new Porsche Cayenne. You'll be thankful. You'll be grateful even. Anyway, as usual, do consider subscribing.